What's focal at is causal, according to chapter 4 of this book, Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. What we tend to focus on is what we see as the cause of a certain circumstance. And this builds on the prior chapter about how what we focus on, what we give our attention, gets undue importance, right? So whatever we're thinking about it at any given time, we tend to think of as more important relatively than everything else that exists that we're not thinking about, even if that's not true, right? Even if it's not actually more important. So this chapter specifically is more important in determining the cause of something. So let's say one of the examples it gives is that if a business fails or like has a bad quarter, we tend to think that the cause is the CEO, right? The CEO caused the failure. Well, chances are that may not actually be the cause, but we see the CEO's face. The CEO is very in front of our attention, so we tend to attribute that particular factor a higher degree of cause. A similar situation when there's two people having a conversation and it's videotaped, you'll have a different impression on who is dominating the conversation depending on whose face you see. So if you're looking over one person's shoulder onto the other person's face, and you're seeing the other person's face, you'll tend to judge the person whose face you see as dominating the conversation. And in fact, that you could have the same conversation recorded from two different camera angles, and people will judge the same conversation very differently depending on which camera angle they watch. So how you might want to apply this is just if let's say you're trying to sell a product, or you're trying to prove a point that X causes Y, that some factor causes some circumstance. Well, it may be that circumstance actually has a bunch of different causes, but if you can get people to focus their attention on one particular cause, that's the one that's that you want them to recognize as the greatest cause, and obviously, hopefully, you'll do this ethically and not try to mislead people, because let's be honest, you could do that if you wanted to. But if you can get people to focus on one particular possible cause, just the fact that they're focusing on that will make them give it outsized importance as compared to the other possible causes.